Welcome to a celebration at the precipice of time, where the power of women knows no bounds. Experience her story unfolding, a reawakening of our collective consciousness to the monumental achievements of our foremothers, a tribute to the battles they fought, rights they've secured, and paths they've paved that women all over the world are continuing to navigate and expand upon. Her stories are unfolding, empowering growing, building legacies of pioneering women by sharing their stories, celebrating their accomplishments, and embracing the rights and privileges they've bestowed to us for generations to come.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to all our friends and our women that we're honoring on National Women's History Month. We are on another episode of Her Story Unfolding, honoring women's legacy, past, present, and future. And today we are excited to bring to you a phenomenal woman, one of a kind, although we're all one of a kind. She is very special in that she has multiple different roles that she has performed through her life that we will be unfolding today as her story unfolds. Alicia, how excited are you about today's broadcast?
I am so excited about today's broadcast. Welcome to everyone tuning in live or on replay to another day in her story unfolding. Whereas Ava mentioned, every day throughout the month of March, we are honoring a phenomenal woman. Today's guest, wow. So excited to bring her onto stage. This is what's so great about her story unfolding. We really get to honor, to uplift, and to celebrate women that are making so many strides across so many industries and also in their homes, in their family life. And I'm just super, super excited today to bring our special guest to the stage. Today, we have the honor of introducing Dame Dr. Kara Scott Dentley. She is an accomplished double scientist turned entrepreneur and success specialist. She had nearly 10 years of service as a physicist and a geospatial analyst working with the United States federal government. She's worked with local governments and private businesses. She also is a success coach. She has a lifestyle brand. There is so much that Kara Scott Dentley has done, and we are just honored to bring her on the stage today. So without further ado, Ava, I would love to bring Dame Dr. Kara Scott Dentley onto the stage with us today.
Let's go, Dr. Kara. I'm adding you to the stage. We are so excited.
Hello.
Oh my God. One of the things that I love
Hello.
about Dr. Kara is her energy.
Yes.
Dr. Kara. We in this Women's Month where we're doing one woman a day for the next 31 days of March. We wouldn't do the whole month without really having you, because you're one that's been very, very inspirational to us in the Los Angeles Tribune. You know, you have been a bright light. You know, you're a light of your own, even as your husband is equally a bright light also. And that's the beauty of both feminine and masculine. And as we honor women, you know, we're about not about lifting ourselves over men, but we're about really coming in the balance and being next to and be right with. And I couldn't think of, I'm actually going through the Rolodex of my mind. I couldn't think of a better model of that than you, Dr. Kara Dentley. So we really want to honor you today.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ava, for the invitation to be here to share my story, to be a part of your event, Her Story Unfolding, Honoring Women's Legacy. And thank you, Alicia, both of you for having me here. I'm excited. I'm excited.
We are excited as well to have you, Dr. Kara Dentley. There's so much to dive into. There's so much that we'd love to learn, but we love to introduce our guests, but we would love for you to also introduce yourself in your own words, share a little bit about who you are, and then we'll take it from there. So, Dr. Kara Dentley.
That's always a very good question. I was thinking about this actually as I was getting prepared. And I said, we have all of these titles. We have so many different things that we call ourselves by. We have all of these. It's just so much that we could go by. And I think right now, with so much opportunity in front of us, some people they get confused. And I think the bottom line is we're all human. We're people. We're here to serve. We're children of the Most High. We're children of God, and we express ourselves in different ways. And so for me, I've been fortunate enough to express myself as a scientist. And in my heart and in my mind, I think that we're all scientists by trade, that we come up inquisitive, curious, wanting to know, and I was given the opportunity to continue on that path as a scientist. And when I got to the point where, and I'm saying all of this because we can pivot. So I did get to a point once I worked for the government, as you mentioned, Alicia. I worked for them almost 10 years. And this was after graduate school. This was after being, part of different governmental contracting agencies. And I started to work for the government, and it was amazing. It was amazing. And it got to a point where I just felt like it was time to shift. It was just time to make a shift. And I toiled with this for a while. And I got to the place where I said, I want to be out. I want to talk to the people, because when you're in science, sometimes it's just you, your computer, the lab, and your lab partners. And I was just ready to do something different. And it felt, at the moment, it felt like it was breaking my heart. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm leaving my family behind. This is all I know. And so the entrepreneurship journey, that's where it started for me 10 years after being with the federal government. And so in doing that, it opened up so many different things. And I remember speaking to one of my superiors while I was still working. And I said, well, I'm not sure if I'm ready to leave, because I don't want to leave you all. And I remember him saying, there are so many people that are out there that's waiting to meet you. You have to do it. And I was just like, what? And so I did. And so my journey started as an entrepreneur. Now I'm an author. I have my own clothing line. I have an online fitness class. My husband and I, we're both part of the Royal Order. We're philanthropists. We have our own nonprofit. We do events. We do so many different things. I'm able to now homeschool my son, which is really one of the things that I really wanted to do. That was always the driving force for me to continue to just move forward, because I felt like I could have a greater impact on him than any other system could. And I could give him more exposure than just boxing him in a classroom, which is a whole different conversation. And so that's where my journey this is where it has led me. And so I'm very grateful for every opportunity that I have to share that, because I'm sure that there's someone out there listening that's ready to make a shift, and they just feel like it's not possible. And I want them to know that it is.
Dr. Kara, your story is so beautiful, because you transitioned not because you were unhappy. You loved
Right.
what you do. You loved everything that you're doing, but you know that you're called for more, right? And that you believe, you believe. I love that your mentor, or actually your boss at that time,
Yeah.
said that the world's waiting to hear you. The world's waiting to see you. And how powerful for someone to affirm your calling and the greatness that's in you, that the world gets to see. And I love how you've ventured into almost anything outside of being a physicist, fashion design, beauty line. You would think that you'd end up with doing something related to your former career, but you did some things, because there are many, right? Completely different, and almost like reinventing yourself, and at the same time bringing in the components that you have honed in and learned from that skill into what you're doing right now. That is just like fascinating. So I know that we would have a lot of questions for you, but I want to bring to the stage a special guest. And I know that I could see in Alicia's minds their questions, but our special guest is only available for a short time, and I would love to like really take the time to have him, and it's a him. Yes, it is her story unfolding, honoring women, and isn't it the most amazing thing for us to have men honor women, and bringing on stage our CEO, the one, the only, the maverick of media, Morak.
Thank you so much, Ava. And I asked Ava and Alicia if I could be a part of this program when I found out that Dame Dr. Kara Dentley is here, because I don't get starstruck often. But to be on the same screen as her, I just have to utilize this opportunity, because there's so much value that we can offer to our community, to our audience today, in all 5 categories of life. When you watch Dame Dentley and when you watch Sir Dentley and you watch them together and the impact that they're making together on the world, it definitely covers the relationship category of life. But what we can learn from this power couple are things that will help us in our lives financially, mentally. Both of them have great peace of mind with their lives. Spiritually, both of them are connected to the higher source, the higher power, the great mystery, as I like to call it. Obviously, relationally and physically, and all of the work that the two of them have done to overcome certain ailments. I mean, Dr. James Dentley is a miracle. Walking on this, he has overcome challenges that have put many millions of other people 6 feet under, and yet he is still embracing life and enjoying life. And so what I wanted to do, Dame Dr. Kara Dentley, was, first of all, thank you for taking time to be with us. Second of all, I just wanted you to share some of the wisdom that you have, and some of the secrets that you have as to what makes your relationship so special and so beautiful. Because I think that there are so many people around the world that yearn to have that kind of a connection, that kind of a power couple, that kind of an impact that the two of you are making in the world. And of course, the Los Angeles Tribune is a proud partner of JD3 TV, one of the few media organizations that also believes in empowerment and positivity, which I believe is so important. But I just wanted to ask that question, because I know there's a lot of people today that are struggling with that, Dame Dr. Dentley, because of social media, because of the values being shifted, the art of having a long relationship with somebody and making a positive impact seems to be a missing art. So please, if you could share that with our audience, and thank you. And I'm going to step back now and just take notes and listen. And I hope everyone watching is also going to listen, because this is so important in life, right? The most important decisions we make in our lives is who we choose to have relationships with, personally and professionally. And so I'm going to sit back and take notes. And I wanted to thank you, and I wanted to congratulate you on an award you received earlier this year from the Los Angeles Tribune for your outstanding leadership. And I wanted to highlight that as well, because I think that what you've done in terms of leadership is so important. So with that, I'm going to step back. I got my pen right here, and I'm going to take some notes, please.
Wow, Mo just asked a very, 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 very powerful question. And and they say that the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions, because then that would serve us. And as he was asking the question, the word grace popped in my head. And I think that that's a very powerful word, but beyond the word is what it signifies. And we have to get back to the place where we extend grace in all of our relationships. With whether it's a parent-child relationship, whether it's your spouse, it could be your own children, it could be in a business relationship. At the core of who I am, I know I strive to be the best version of me. I strive to see the best in others. And with that being said, I extend grace. And so that's one of the things that my husband and I have towards each other, because I really feel like, even if it's there's some things that some, women, we can throw things out. We could take things out. We throw way out of proportion. Why is this here? And we would just nag and just become a nuisance over something so minute when we could just really choose to see it a different way. He didn't mean to, or she didn't mean to. I choose to go through life feeling like people want to do the best, right? I choose to feel that people want to do good, that people want to see the good in others, and even as people struggle, they want the best to come out. And because we do these events, because we get a chance to interact with people from all over the world, that's the common thread that I see with so many people, with pretty much everybody. I don't know, even people that I've known, and I've known people from all walks of life, coming from the south side of Chicago. Trust me, I have seen it all. And even with people who have, any type of struggles, I've seen that at the core that they're like, this happened and I was actually moved into that. Like it was something, my environment contributed to that. I didn't know any differently. And so one of the things that I realized with and I have this in my book, there's a law. We talked about geography, right? Geospatial analysis. And with everything spatially, there's relationship with everything. There's a law that's Tobler's law. And it says that everything is connected to everything else. Everything is connected to everything else. But those things that are near are more like those things that they're near versus those things that are further apart. So when I understood this law, even while I was in school, it put me in a mind frame, not so much of just looking at things, but I started to think of it in context of people. I was like, wait a minute. And you hear people say it really on the fly, quotes, you find the 5 people that you spend the most time with. You'll find that this is, these are the people who you're most like. And I was like, there's an actual law that backs this up. And so if people start to understand that, and it doesn't mean that anybody is bad. I don't believe in good and bad. It's just certain results that certain activities lend itself to. And so when I started to look at that, I was like, well, I just need to be around people who are on the same frequency, who are thinking the same way, who are going where I want to go, or already where I want to be. And that's where I need to be. These are the conversations that I have. You don't just wind up somewhere. You have to be intentional, which is why my book is called Unlocking the Blueprint of Intention. Everything is intention. It's the keys to governing your greatness with science. That's not a shameless plug, but it's true. So as these different laws started to unfold before me, I would take notes, and I still have notes from way back. And I'm like, all of these different things, there are so many different contexts that I could bring into place about relationship. Because when you look at the thought process of a person, it has a lot to do with how they were raised, what they were exposed to, which raises your level of awareness. And then you start to observe different things. Many things that I saw growing up, my parents, they were married before my dad passed, rest in peace. Before my dad passed, almost 2 years ago. He and my mom, it would have been 52 years this year. So I saw them at 50 years plus some months. I saw the good, the bad, the ups, the downs. I saw what longevity looked like. I saw what grace looked like. And so that was my exposure. That was my awareness. And so when it comes to relationship, that's the word that always comes to mind: extend grace. And it could be your spouse. Like I said, it could be your friends. If these are your true friends and you really want your friendships to last, extend grace. Business partnerships, extend grace. That is so key. If we could get back to the point of that, and just, of course, everyone throws love around so loosely and so freely, which that's key too. But love for different people mean different things. It's so subjective. I've seen people say, "Oh, I love this car. I love this gym shoe," but it's not the same love that you would extend to another human being.
What a powerful message, Dr. Kara. And the word grace, it makes you think of that, the song Amazing Grace. But Grace really is amazing because, as we think about grace, it's also, I think, as I heard you thinking about relationships with colleagues, with partners, it also made me think about the relationship with self and how do we give ourselves grace when we are trying to show up for ourselves, when we are trying to figure things out, when we are trying to shift to do something different. And so it's such a powerful word, action, right? It is a verb, it is an adjective, it
Yeah.
is a noun, it's all the things, right? All encompassing. It's truly remarkable that that is the word that you thought of. And when you think of self, you've worked in the energy space, you worked as a physicist, a scientist, you worked with energy, you were just in the film Beyond Physical Matter. Would love to learn more about how you got involved with the film and the message shared. And then what does energy mean to you in your own day-to-day life? So kind of two parts there, but I wanted to at least express that and then share it back with you.
Yes, Beyond. Thank you so much, Alicia, for bringing that up. Beyond Physical Matter, the movie slash documentary is so powerful, and I don't just say that because I'm in it. When I heard the title, I was just like, oh my God, like I've been studying this for 20 or 30 years. And, it's becoming a topic now, but it's always been beyond physical matter. So Dame Melinda Boyer and Sir Don Boyer, they're actually the producers of the film, along with 17 other films, and they have more coming out. And my husband was in Beyond Limitations, which was the movie just prior to Beyond Physical Matter. So he was in that movie, and they brought it to his attention that they were doing Beyond Physical Matter. And my husband is such a big cheerleader of mine. He's like, oh my gosh, this sounds right up my wife's alley. She needs to be a part of this,
That's
because I'm
amazing.
always talking to him about everything. And you mentioned energy, and I'm like, energy is everything. Like this is what we know. Einstein is saying everything is energy. Even Eli, Tesla. That, everything is energy. And if you start to think in terms of that, everything, your emotions are energy. You carry energy. We have an electromagnetic field that surrounds us, that extends outward from us. And the people that we are around, their electromagnetic field extends out to us as well. And you can like feel a vibe with everything. Even light, everything vibrates. This pillow is vibrating. The walls are vibrating. Every single thing vibrates. And so when we were talking about this, and I mentioned it in a movie, the only thing that's preventing me from sinking through this couch. Okay. So there's quantum physics, then there's classical physics. Classical physics is what most people are familiar with, right? You have forces, you have, acceleration, you have impact. You have all of these different things that can be measured that gives the illusion that everything is isolated, is this or that. But there's energy that's transferred in between. There's always something that happens in between. So while it looks like I'm separate from this pillow, it's a cute pillow, by the way, there's
Very
still
cute.
energy being shared between myself and this pillow. And so when you're thinking about that, even that you transfer into your body, like all inside of your body is all energy. And that's why when, so much of our body, like our cells, are dependent on the energy that we feel within our body. The energy within your body can be measured by an MEG or an EEG, which is basically a magnetoencephalograph or an electroencephalograph. So basically, it's just measuring the energy within you, and it could actually tell you whether or not you're happy, you're sad,
Wow.
it matters not what's on your face. It's the energy that you're giving off. And they are so accurate with these. Remember the little mood rings that people used to wear?
Yes, yes, yes.
Because
And it would
even
change colors depending on how you felt.
those are accurate. Those are, because colors, those are frequencies. Every color has a frequency. So remember if you look at the the spectrum of the electromagnetic field, right? And there's just a slither of what it is that we're able to see.
Yeah.
So you have the visible light, but there's so many other frequencies outside of that and wavelengths of light that is always present. And that's why, like, if you take a blue light, ultraviolet light, you can actually see different things, fingerprints, because that's there, even though you can't actually physically see it with the naked eye, right? There's infrared penetration. There's so many different things, but I'm saying this to let people know that every single thing, particularly what we need to become more aware of and speak on, the relationship and the energy that's shared between people, right? And then also the energy that is within our bodies. You know, you hear a lot of people now talking about breathing and meditation. All of that is slowing the body down long enough for you to get oxygen within your cells, so that now you don't have any stagnation. It helps to break up mucus in the body. There are so many different things. Like when we're talking about energy, like when you mention that, when I hear the word energy, I just get excited. I actually have one of my physics books sitting over there right now, wide open, because I'm always digging. I'm always researching. One of my professors, he's like, look, I'm working on these projects about self-healing. Would you be interested in working? So yes, I'm no longer with the federal government, but I'm always a physicist. I'm always a physicist. So, it's an exciting time. And I recommend everyone to watch that movie, because you will hear some things, and it's all about, just resonance, right? That you hear something, which is why you're here now, because people seek. And I pray that when you hear this interview or other interviews, or you watch the movie Beyond Physical Matter, that there will be something that will resonate with you, with the energy within you, that will make you say, oh, wow, that makes sense. Things that make sense to the energy and the spirit within you, where you say, you have an aha moment. And that's the thing, because I'm not telling anybody anything that they don't already know. We've just been taken away from it so long that we don't practice understanding about how energy is transferred between people. But when you hear it, which is why people get excited about it, because it's like, oh my gosh, this is so true. It is so true with everything. And I could really deep dive and talk about so many other things, Heisenberg principles and all of these different things, but I don't want to lose people. I want to keep it at a point and at a place where people can understand just that if you're in a room, let's just put it like this. If you're in a room and with the group of people, and for some reason you're just like, something feels off, it just might be. Your intuition tells you everything, because that's your body picking up the frequency that someone else, they're not matching you. Okay. It's a
in the room.
There's a dissonance. Okay. There's a dissonance.
Yes, when they're
There's
like,
a
read the
disconnect.
room. Have you read the room? It has
Always.
to come from somewhere, right?
Exactly. And we all have the ability to do it.
Yeah. And it's remarkable. Like earlier this week, we had Marielle Blanc come on. She has a book out, Awakening Your Soul's Vibration. And she was, we were talking about energy and healing through energy. And energy is all around us. As Ava mentioned when we opened, you have such a bright light energy around you, so joyous. What are some of the things that you do to pour into yourself, to give yourself that self-love, that self-care, and keep your energy just vibrating at such a vibrant energy?
Thank you. Thank you so much. And you have that same good energy. For me, it's being intentional. It's being intentional with, what I want to accomplish in any space, which is always just more joy, right? Peaceful moments. I make sure that I get my rest. Now, that may mean going to bed early. That may mean, I'm just so in tuned that you have to get rest. If you're waking up every day irritated because you're not rested, your body's aching, you have headaches, that is your body's alarm system telling you something. And too many times people ignore just the red flags, the check engine light. Your body is just saying, wait, hold on. And I remember my dad used to always say, if you don't take time out to sit down, to rest, you will fall down. Like your body will give you signals until it can't. And so for me, I hula hoop, right? That's part of my workout. Because one thing that I know about hula hooping, It's like dancing, right? But you're getting a workout, is trimming the waistline, so many different things, micro movements, you're starting to target different muscles that you didn't even know that you had. But you can't think too far in the past or too far in the future. You have to be very present to keep that hula hoop around your waist. And if you turn on good music, you're hula hooping, you're jiving to the music, and you're getting a workout in at the same time because you want to stay moving. And you're singing the songs. You're doing so much. Your serotonin, your endorphins, and everything. You're in a happy place. And so this is something that I don't do for me, but I do it for other people because I'm like, if I'm feeling like this, I want other people to feel like this too. Because I know, as you know, you hear the whole thing, happy wife, happy life. But when mom is happy, the children are happy. If wife is happy, hubby is happy. And then you can go and you can share that light and that joy and that happiness with other people. So I'll take my walks in nature. It's just, just really tune in and be intentional. If you want to go out and, take a walk or get some fresh air, go outside, take a walk and get some fresh air. I hear so many people that feel so limited with what they're able to do. Oh, I wish I could do that. It's like, do it. Do it.
Decide and then do it.
Decide and then do it.
Yeah. That's so lovely. And you mentioned hula hooping. Can imagine that's a great way to get present, get grounded, and get into the moment. And that's just a beautiful example of how there are so many different ways to get grounded back into the moment. You have your own hula hoops that are part of Lifestyle by Kara. I've seen they're like pink and blue hula hoops. What is that kind of hula hoop movement about, and what does that mean to you and the individuals you get to experience that with?
I love to see the joy of people when they get to hula hoop. I've gone on cruises. I have a bag that comes, is actually, like you said, it's my brand of hula hoop. And you get a bag where you can take it on the go. I've taken it out of town with me, and people are like, "Is that a hula hoop?" And it starts a conversation. Right. I've had people like in their 80s ask, "Can I do it? Can I try it?" And I'm like, absolutely. And it's one of those things, it's nostalgic, because some people are like, I remember I used to hula hoop, started out with so many years ago. Oh my God, I wonder if I can still do it. And it says a lot about a person, about how they actually approach the hoop. Because you have some people that are like, oh my God, I've never hula hoop. I don't think I can ever hula hoop. And I'm like, well, first of all, stop negating it, right? Stop negating you. Because if you're doing it here, you probably do it in other areas of your life.
Yeah.
Try it. Right? Give it a try. And then some people are like, I've never tried it. Let me see that thing. Men, women, let me see it. Let me see if I could do it. I've never done it, but let's see, or give me instructions. What do I need to do? And so it really says a lot. And it just opens up dialogue. It opens up conversation. It gets people moving. It gets people excited. And other people, believe it or not, like to watch other people hula hoop.
Are they going to keep going? Is it going to drop? What's going on?
People stand out to the side like, I want to see this, especially if especially with the men, if their wife is with them, they're like, okay, let me see this, and when they do it, the wives are like, what? I didn't know you could hula hoop. So it's fun. It's fun. I like to bring smiles to people's faces, whatever way, that I am, that the moment calls for. And I actually have my hoop right here.
Please bring it on with you.
So of course this thing is huge. I can't even put the whole thing. Look how wide it is. I can't even put the whole thing on the screen. But you see these little nodes right here. These are magnetic and they're acupressure. So it actually helps to break up any sludge that's in the body. And then it gives you like a nice little massage around the waist, and it's weighted. So I've learned that it's easier for people to hula hoop with this one than it is with the lightweight hula hoops, because those are pretty much for like small bodies and children. But this one, it's like, because it's so big, it's the momentum. And it's just like, you're just like bringing it around. And so that's why it works the hips and the waistline. And people love it. And like I said, I've had people that could hula hoop with this that could not hula hoop with the smaller one. And I'm like, well, why can't I do the smaller one? I'm like, because you're using the momentum with your body to bring it around. And because it's weighted, it kind of tells you where to put your hips in order to keep the hoop up, because it is weighted. so you can
Yeah.
feel it. So it's pretty scientific.
I love that the science kind of follows you no matter what it is that you're doing, whether you're talking about energy, with your hula hoops, in your own personal life. I'm so curious, how did you get into science? It's not often that you see women in science, Black women in science to the levels that you've been at. You retired from your physicist role in that fashion early on in your career, and were able to continue that love into the other endeavors that you entered into. But how did you get into science at the very beginning?
When you're young, you're like, what do I want to do? And, it's like the weirdest thing, like around, what is it, third or fourth grade. And I remember I wanted to be an attorney. I was like, I'm going to be a lawyer. And I just thought it was just, I thought that was like the end all be all, because my first question in the beginning was, hey, where can I make a lot of money? Right. As a kid, it's like, I just want to be able to just live life freely. And it was like being an attorney. And I was like, that's it. I'll be an attorney. And then I was like, I don't want to necessarily do that. And what we need to understand when we choose careers like this, you will continue in that field. It doesn't end just because you graduate with the degree. So, it's preparing you for that thing. And I remember watching a movie. I did kid you not, The Devil's Advocate. I was at the movie theater and I changed my mind that day. And I was like, I don't want to do that. In my mind, this is so weird, but I was thinking that I don't want to go against my morals, because that's what I saw in the movie, and that really impacted me. So I started once again on this journey of what do I want to do. And then I had mentors asking, well, what do you like? And I was like, I love math. And they was like, well, maybe you would be an engineer. And in my mind at that time, I was like, I don't want to drive trains, because I was a kid, right? I don't want to drive trains. And then I started to look up, what do engineers do? And I was like, that sounds cool. So then when I went to college, that was my thing. I'm going to be an engineer. Started out in engineering, but in order to be an engineer, you have to be a physicist. You have to take physics classes. And so I started taking these physics classes and chemistry and organic and all of these different, all of math that you could ever think of, calculus, the list goes on. And so one of my physics professors just asked, he said, would you ever consider getting a physics degree? Because you really understand this with physics. And I was just like, physics? I was like, that doesn't sound sexy. Cool, a physicist. And then I realized that I was really good, and he would have me to do research with him over the summers. I did research at the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. My research started being published all over the world, and I was just like, well, why not? I started to look at it differently, that I could be an example now that my research was published in so many places. I was like, I can do it, so why not? And so I went forward to just go ahead and show what was possible, because my whole perspective shifted at that point, that I wanted to be an example for people, because I did not see too many other people. I knew about Mae Jemison, there were other women, like Katherine Johnson, they made the movie Hidden Figures about her. And so I knew about a few ladies, but I was like, out of all the women that I could think of, there weren't that many. And I didn't know any personally, believe it or not. And so I was part of the Society of Physics Students, and I would go to conferences, and I didn't see anybody that looked like me. I didn't see, eventually here and there you would see sprinkles of African-American women, or just women, period. And I was like, okay, I have to do this. At this point, it was like a charge, it's like a mission. And so, fast forward, that's when I worked for the government. I worked on government contracts. I did a lot of stuff in the field, and it was an amazing experience. I worked with, my agency. We worked with nuclear power plants. So it was a lot of science behind it. And I got hired right away with the government because I had a degree in physics and a degree in geospatial analysis. So I worked with algorithm development on so many different things that looked at health disparities in certain communities using mapping and different techniques. And, it was just a journey. And I was just like, whoa, the information that was being pulled out of this data. And this was like, dating myself, but like 20 years ago, believe it or not. And I'm working on these projects, and I'm like, people don't even understand like where you live. This goes back to just everything, the energy in the air. Where you live have a direct impact on the quality of your life.
Yeah.
Your zip code has more impact on how you will turn out with your health and everything, with your relationship, your longevity, than even your genetic code. And so there's so many things that people do that it's just awareness. And so I think I'm on a mission for awareness, to let people know that when you talked about energy and being able to speak about physics from a deeper perspective, that it does matter, and the information is out there. And when you start to read it, it's almost like this tunnel of information, like you just keep digging. And to be in a position where I've done the research and I'm just like, wow. So just raising people's awareness, because I feel like you get real change when you are first aware about something, you become aware of it, and then you observe it. Because now that you're aware of it, now you start to observe, like, oh, that, like, let's take for example the color of the paint on the wall. Yes, it's white, but if you get a painter in this room, because he has a certain level of awareness, he'll say, no, that's not actually white, that's off-white, or that's eggshell. He can go a lot deeper because he has a deeper understanding. So raising that awareness, and then people start to observe certain things, now they're either going to come into agreement with it or not. And if you come into agreement with it, that's how you actually get real change in communities and lifestyles and everything else.
There was so much there with that, but awareness and observation, and then you can do something with that information that applies to the work that you've done, but also just in everyday life. When you're aware, then you can move from that place of awareness and decide to do what it is you want to do next. But sometimes when we live and we're not aware of what's going on, we don't even have that vantage point clarity to figure out, okay, do I want to take this approach or that approach, or somewhere in between? I know Ava got on, and I'm sure she has a question for you, but kind of carrying on with what you just mentioned, I think it's really important for you to share and educate our audience. You mentioned geospatial analysis. What does that mean, and what is its impact on kind of like the world that we live in? And then to add on to that, I know you've done a lot of research here, but also internationally abroad. What was one of the most interesting research projects that you had the opportunity to dive into?
Well, let's start back with, what is geospatial? So everything has a spatial component, every single thing. With that, I always go back to with our bodies, right? Everything inside of us has a geospatial component. And then if you come out to we have a geospatial component with people that are connected to us. We have a geospatial component with everything that is in our community. And then everything, you can keep going from the county, from the state, from the city to the county, to the city, the county, the state, the country, to your continent. All of these things are spatially connected all the way out to the earth and everything else in between. So there's always a geospatial component, and nothing, you can't get too much information unless you understand where is it. Right? Einstein talks about the theory of relativity. Everything is relative. So where is it? How fast was it going? Is it here? Is it there? Where is it? If I tell you right now, we're going to have an event, you're going to say, where? Is that determines a whole lot whether or not you'll be able to attend, right? Where is it? So, spatially, everything, when it comes to geospatial, even when we're looking at e-com, commerce, when they're looking at stores, when they're looking at whether or not they should actually take a store off of where it's actually have a physical location to online, it's determined by, where is it? Is it in the optimum location? I remember we had a Walgreens that was situated on one corner, which was in one zip code, but because that zip code didn't really serve the population in that zip code, do you know that they moved that same Walgreens just across the street? Because now it was in a different zip code. And they were saying that, because of, when you're looking at the dollars that I spent within that area, it just made a difference where they put it. And I was like, you tore that one down and move it across the street. But I understood that they were looking at the data. So when it comes to geospatial, there's data points, there's information that is gathered into everything in order for decisions to be made. And the decisions are always being made, and they're made based on geospatial components. So everything has a geospatial component to it. Every single thing. It doesn't matter how big, how small, how minute. It doesn't matter. Everything has a geospatial component.
That is so powerful, Dr. Dame Tori. Dr. Dame Kara. You know what's amazing about what you're saying is you know how I have someone that says we're never disconnected, because we're always connected spatially. We're always receiving from the energy that's around us, and we're always giving out energy. But as like you said, when you're able to explain deeper, then you understand deeper. And the way you just explained that, the geospatial components of like, even as we resonate in a bigger and bigger way outside of just where we are, to community, to our country, it makes so much sense. Like, it makes so much sense right now. So I see a lot of energy in you, Dr. Kara. So you must be doing something that's physics related, that's able to generate that energy. What are some tips that you can give us and our audience on how to produce that energy? Because energy is so vital. I mean, like, energy is life. Without energy, it's dead, right? And in
True.
anything and everything, in entrepreneurship, in studies, like, it requires energy. And the quality of one's work, the quality of one's business, the quality of one's life will depend on the energy that they have. So is energy something we can manipulate, we can produce more of? Is energy, and if we could, what are some ways you could share with us?
Very, very good question. Where, we're energy. We are energy. And so how do you feel is so key. And I mean that physically, mentally, and emotionally. When we start our day, are you waking up and just getting to it because you're in a haste, you're in a rush, other people need you, and you're just being jerked around just by responding to, oh, I have a text message, oh, I have an email, and you're starting your day in this anxiety state of mind. You're not really in a rested state, and all of your cells in your body, all of them are responding to that jerk, that cortisol levels rise. And it's not even that cortisol is your stress level. Cortisol is your ability to handle stress. So that's why you can have some people go through something and they handle it with ease. They're just smooth with it because they have decided in the beginning of their day how they're going to handle certain things. And they're mindful of it, right? They're conscious of it, that, okay, I'm going to see these things as they come. My husband always says, you have to get ahead of it. Get ahead of it. But he starts his day in a restful, even though he's awake, he's restful because he's processing his day. And I'm saying this because you all know my husband and you all know he's doing a million things, but he processes his day. He processes conversations. And I'm using him as an example because he will have the conversation that he's going to have with someone else with me first. Very interesting, right? Intention, because he gets ahead of it to say what could go wrong. Before it goes wrong, I'm going to already process how I'm going to handle this if it goes wrong, right? And so when you can go at life with such acuity of just knowing, of just saying, this is the outcome that needs to happen. It's not about anybody being right or wrong. Here's the outcome that needs to happen for the good of the order for everybody. Right. And that goes back to culture. Alicia, you mentioned about just the personal grace. Sometimes you have to have personal culture to say, I'm not going to allow anything to disturb my peace. And if you go into your day just saying, let me breathe first, let me get oxygen into my cells, let me hydrate. There's so many things that sound like, yeah, I drink water. Drinking water is not the same thing as hydrating. Let me just let you know that. Okay. There is a very distinct, you could drink water and still be dehydrated. Okay. And that's why when people go in the hospital, they actually give you an IV with saline, because that's how you hydrate, because it shrinks the cells of the molecule of the water in order to get it into your cells, which is what needs to be hydrated. Okay. So when we're talking about all of these different things, another way to get hydration into your body is fruit. Eat fruit first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. There's so much, like when I think about everything, my whole life is, it's a lifestyle, it's holistic. It's the whole mind, body, spirit. It's everything that needs to come into place so that I can have a fulfilling life while I am here. I don't want to be tired. I don't want to be in pain. I want things to work for me. And when I come across things that work for me, I share it with other people. Like, have you considered this? And maybe you're not aware of it. These different laws and just different things that come up. I'm like, well, let me test it out, because I am a scientist and that's what we do. So to look at just every day, how do you start your day? Are you intentional with, look, this is the outcome that I want for my day. I want a peaceful day. I'm going to have a peaceful day. When I walk into the office, when I see my first, employee or my boss or whoever, this is how I want to approach them, because remember, we are energy. So we get back what we dish out, right? We attract who we are. So if there's someone who does not, you don't get, you feel some kind of way when you're around them, you may be giving them something that they're giving back to you. And so we go back to that word grace. So my whole understanding about everything is built around. So if there's something that someone has done to you, if there's something that they've done, extend grace. And so even starting right now, even if it's someone in your household, someone right now, they're dreading going home, right? Because of the energy that was there when they left. But we can set the temperature when we get home. So we can start right now that, you know what? I want peace in my house. I want peace in my office. Like this is, and so when you hear people now, everybody's talking about, you can create the life that you want. This is so true, but on every level. Mm-hmm. If you want peaceful relationships, give out peaceful relationships. You want people to love you, love people. You want people to befriend you, befriend people. Because we have such a short time on this planet, and we get to leave a mark on everybody that we come in contact with. What does that look like? I see so many people wasting time on who's hating and who don't like them. And I'm like, do you understand when you're upset or you're mad or you're feeling some kind of way, you have to feel that first. You have to feel it in order for you to be like, I'm mad at. I don't want to be mad. So I don't even, if someone does something, I don't want to feel what I need to feel in order to be mad. And guess who gets to choose that? Self. So to ground myself every single day. And when I feel like, sometimes we work past the point of exhaustion, that's not ever good for your body, for your mind. You get aggravated. All of those are signs that, wait a minute, I work better once I've rested. I come up with my best content where I have a clear head, right? Sometimes we need to take ourselves on a personal sabbatical and just separate and just get a break and just, and come back full. So many people are just operating on E. For what? For who? I had a coworker that was operating on E. She was hospitalized. She did not come in for months. And I was like, should we send her a card? They was like, she was really private. I was like, but it's pretty obvious that she hasn't been here in months. And we would travel together because we did a lot of work with the federal government, whether it was, being deployed or what have you. And she never came back to work. And long story short, sadly, she wound up passing away. And I just remember the day that she passed, it was heavy on everybody because we were like family. Do you know they pulled that little tent card out of her office door, put somebody else's name in that tent card, put all her belongings in the box, set it at the front desk, waited for her family to come pick it up. Somebody else was in that office and life went on in that office. And business was like nothing ever happened. And to be a young woman at that time that was always go, 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 oh, stress, no sleep, hustle, hustle, hustle. I was like, whoa, like that was an eye opener for me. And I was like, you have to get what you need in order to show up your best. And if you're working out of an empty vessel, you can't serve you can't serve anybody. You have nothing. Like you are exhausted. You are beyond the point of being able to give. And so we have to acknowledge and be honest, like I can't go any further. I have to get the rest. And so now I live my life intentionally like, nope, need to get rest. Nope, I need to, nope, I'm moving too fast. I need to slow down, just really just taking the time to do that. So when I'm like, oh, I need to work out, our bodies give us signs all the time. I can tell when I picked up like 2 or 3 pounds. Trust me, I can feel it. And I could feel it right in that sciatic nerve. The first time I felt it when I was carrying my son. And now I'm like, okay, when I feel that little ache. So if your body is communicating to you at any point, your body is telling you something. So I know, okay, I need to walk. I need to, hula hoop. I need to pick it up or slow down on my intake. That's always an option too. And so just being intentional about it, because if I'm not feeling good, it's going to affect everything around me. So yes, I hear people saying, oh, I need to get in the gym. I need to work out. I need to do something, but I just don't have time. You have to insert that as an appointment, just like you insert everything else on your calendar, because your metabolism is dependent on it. And then as we get older, we do slow down. And we start feeling like I need more. I need rest. There's so many things. So that's what I do. I listen to my body. I take the time to listen to my body as I'm coming into the day, as well as when I'm going out of the day, going to sleep.
Well, Dr. Kara, I could tell you, Alicia and I are soaking that in, right, Alicia?
All of that in.
Preach it, preach it. As women, I don't even know if overwork is a term. We overwork ourselves, but that we kind of create this identity that's who we are, and it isn't true, right? I'm saying it on broadcast. I lost 2 of my phones yesterday, both phones, and I think I think the universe decided to give me a break.
Okay.
And realizing that I'm like, that when I don't have my phone, I was stressing out about a lot of the appointments that I don't know I have because my calendar is gone. I don't have contacts. I don't have the applications that I normally use. And realizing that, okay, I think I need to rest. I need to rest. So thank you, Dr. Carr. I'm hearing you. I know that Alicia came prepared with so much questions, and I could not believe it's an hour already. So Alicia, I'm gonna give you the final question for Dr. Carr. Dr. Carr, we can do this for hours just because of your energy, your enthusiasm, your joy. Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna go off the stage, and Alicia, I'd love to have the closing question and remarks. Dr. Kara, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ava. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much, Ava. And thank you, Dr. Kara, for sharing that piece on listening to your body and meeting yourself where you're at and understanding that, taking the time to understand that so you can move from that place. It's easy to ignore, but sometimes your body, it traps everything that you have going on. Your body remembers it, stores it, energy remembers it, and it'll pop up on you maybe when you least expect it. So if you could get ahead and be aware of what is going on, it's one step in the right direction. Dr. Kara Dentley, I think we would be remiss if we did not ask you about, honor you, and recognize you for the fact that you recently were awarded with the President's Lifetime Achievement Award for community service. You were awarded this week, and what does it mean to you to receive the President's Lifetime Achievement Award for service?
It meant so much. Thank you for bringing
Congratulations.
that up. Service is a lifestyle, and we all do it in different ways. And there's a scripture that comes to me out of this good book that many of us are very familiar with. But it's give, and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And so I'm honored. We have a nonprofit called Already Always Amazing, and we serve children, veterans, seniors, and women. And so, I was just grateful, just looking at the path that I've taken, and just grateful for the people that recognize the work that myself as well as my husband have done. And so I'm just happy, just ready to just continue to do the work.
That's truly remarkable, Dr. Kara. There's something that you mentioned, which is it's a lifestyle. Everything that you do is a lifestyle. I love that. It's like you own it, and everything you do is a part of who you are. It's not just today I'm going to do it and tomorrow I'm not. It's a lifestyle. It's from the inside out and the outside in. We want to say thank you so much, Dame Dr. Kara Dentley, for joining us today. You are part of the Royal Order. You work with veterans, children. You inspire people to move around and shake around. You have your lifestyle company, clothing, living through the lifestyle of clothing. You've done so much in the world of in being a physicist, that that lifestyle still continues. We just want you to know that we honor you, we celebrate you, we uplift you, and we're delighted that you've been able to be on with us to share your story today. We may have lost you for a moment, so I think I'm going to give you a moment to come back and join us. But to everyone that has been tuning in to hear Dame Dr. Kara Dentley share her story, we thank you. As Ava and I mentioned at the beginning of today's broadcast, her story unfolding is continuing throughout the entire month of March, really creating spaces to celebrate women that are phenomenal, all in their own right, just like you watching this at home, at work, on the go, are phenomenal in your own right too. And we appreciate you for tuning in today live and watching the replay. And we are looking forward to continuing to celebrate her story unfolding with you as the series continues. And Abba, I would love to hand it off to you to share closing thoughts and remarks.
Absolutely. I can't believe that it's only the 7th of March. I'm actually looking at the calendar right now because I feel like we've heard and been filled with so many women who we've brought to the stage. I felt like it's been longer. Can't believe it's only the 7th and that we've honored 6 women as of today. Know that you are able to nominate. Just email community@latribuneonline.com and nominate, a woman that deserves recognition. What's amazing is yesterday I was at a ski. It's not called a ski. Ice skating rink. It's an ice skating rink, and there were some ice skating performers that are practicing, and I was watching one young woman who kept doing the same routine over and over and over again, and she kept falling. And her mom, she's young, she's probably around 15, 16, and her mom was on the stand saying, "You're exhausted, take a rest, you're exhausted." And she wasn't giving up. And she, I'm like, and then the song came on air. I hear voices that say in my head, "I'm not enough." And she just kept trying and trying. And I'm like, oh my God, like the amount of women out there, the number of women out there who are just like really giving it their best, giving it their craft. Like we could do this every day for every year, all year, and we will never run out of women to acknowledge, to honor, to recognize. And it is the same for men. But this month, during Women's History Month, we particularly really want to honor the legacy of women who have not been recognized so much in the past. And really the purpose of that is for our present. I always say the quote that says, if you don't know your rights, you don't have any. And as women today, we live under conditions and situations as if we are not yet free, as if our foremothers have not won the rights and the battles, for us. Dr. Kara was mentioning a while ago about really taking care of ourselves and putting ourselves first. And as women, that's not something that we automatically do, but it's our I don't want to say it's our right, but we deserve it. You're worthy. You are worthy. You're worthy to put yourself first, to take care of yourself. But it's amazing our power as women to affect our families, to affect our communities, to affect our workplaces, our businesses, and who we bring to the table, who we bring, to the relationship matters. And like Dr. Kara said today in closing, like energy matters. And we can't give from an empty cup. And as we close our broadcast today, I want to encourage everyone out there, every woman out there, to put yourself first. It may seem selfish. I know I lived that life where I raised 6 kids and I felt like it was selfish to take care of myself. But it's even more selfish not to, because who you are and who you bring to your relationship creates a ripple effect beyond what we can see. So in closing, I want to tell every woman out there, put yourself first, take care of yourself, and really know that you are worthy, you are valuable, you are deserving. And I would love to hear your story. Share it with us. Email us in LA Tribune community at latribuneonline.com, so that we could feature your story, and maybe we could also hear whoever you nominate. Until tomorrow, thank you for joining us.
Welcome to a celebration at the precipice of time, where the power of women knows no bounds. Experience her story unfolding, a reawakening of our collective consciousness to the monumental achievements of our foremothers, a tribute to the battles they fought, rights they've secured, and paths they've paved that women all over the world are continuing to navigate and expand upon. Her stories are unfolding, empowering growing, building legacies of pioneering women by sharing their stories, celebrating their accomplishments, and embracing the rights and privileges they've bestowed to us for generations to come.